So, Ronan, my dear boy, if you would open your phone, please, and go to my YouTube, not your YouTube,
Okay.
either your YouTube or my Facebook page, Release the Creative, and just see if we are sending out a signal loud and clear. We should be, with about a 30-second delay, which means right now. And just see if we are sending out a signal loud and clear. We should be.
And we are.
And we are. So cool. then Ronan, allow me to be the first to welcome you to your very first live broadcast.
Almost. Because remember we did that whole Twitch
that was
thing?
Twitch. And Twitch doesn't count as much.
Does it? Rest in peace, all those Twitch gamers.
Like
those
if we were
streamers.
gaming, like we were doing, like, don't get me wrong, I had a Twitch show for a year. Where we broadcast every day, and it was great. I loved my Twitch show. Still some of the best year and a half, but at the same time, it's not the platform for it.
I see. It's not the same.
And right now we're multi-streaming. We're on multiple different platforms. We're on YouTube.
We're in the
We're on
interwebs.
Facebook. But welcome to your very first multi-streaming Reels in the Round. And the other cool thing about this is if at some point you were like, man, we should have Jim come on. I can include other people.
I don't know Jim.
I don't know a Jim either. But
Actually,
anyway,
I do my assistant principal, but that's besides the point.
Assistant Principal Jim, I hope you're watching. Ronan is disavowing knowledge of you. Anyway, so let's just kick it off here.
With the intro.
Just go ahead.
Okay. Hello, welcome to you're seeing us live.
Yeah,
in the
this
thick
is happening
of things.
right now.
In the thick of things.
I mean, by the time you see this, it was 30 seconds ago. So, hello from the future.
Anyways, Reels and Rounds. This is what this podcast is.
Yeah, we do this weekly every Tuesday night. Usually we do it Tuesday night and then we post it to YouTube on Wednesday. But now
we have the power.
Well, we've always had the power, but we've decided we're going to start doing it live Tuesday because so much of what we do is, me answering your questions or us talking about these movies.
Or if other people have questions.
But this way other people can jump in.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the movies we're watching are particularly new.
No, I think
the
newest one was like 2017 or so.
Yeah, like we haven't watched a particular cutting new release still in theaters.
Actually, this one was 2017.
This was 2017.
I do believe,
yeah. So what did we watch tonight?
So tonight we watched Darren Aronofsky's Mother.
And by the way,
she's a
Darren
lovely
Aronofsky,
fella.
Rotten hell. You heard me. I hate how much I loved this movie. And I love how much I hated this movie. This movie was awful, and I enjoyed every second of it.
You beat me to it because I was just about to ask you, what did you think of Darren Aronofsky's Mother?
So, I mean, we talked about this 2 weeks ago when we watched Black Swan. Darren Aronofsky has a style that I really appreciate while not always liking. I thought The Fountain was good, albeit weird. Pie, I don't like at all. Requiem for a Dream is one of the best movies I've ever seen and will never watch again under pain of death. The Wrestler, I truly love. It's one of my favorite films. The only film, now that I've watched Mother today, the only film of Darren Aronofsky's I have not seen is Noah, and I have zero intention of fixing that. None. I have my reasons.
Well, since we already kind of got carried away, let's look at these familiar faces. Because
yes.
If you don't know, we saw these two 2 weeks ago.
We did.
When we were doing Black Swan.
Yeah, because it's the same team.
Yeah, that's actually what brought us to Mother.
It is like I like his style. So obviously I just said it, Requiem for a Dream, Pie, Black Swan, and the executive producer for Zipper, Mark Heyman, writer of Strange Angel, Zipper, writer of Black Swan, and writer of Skeleton Twins. This team has a way about them, I guess is the way to put it. It's deeply unsettling.
Yeah. One can say that.
It's deeply unsettling. It's I don't know how else to say it actually. It's deeply unsettling.
Yeah.
So you tell me, talk to me about Mother. What did you think?
Well, before I get too carried away.
Okay.
Before we talk about the ins and outs.
Sure.
I'm going to first bring up the fact that unlike most of the other Reels and Around movies that we watched, By the way, we forgot to say that we're on a rectangular table. Still
Oh,
on
wheels in
that.
the round on the rectangle table. Sorry, yeah, we fixed it. Cool.
Anyways, this was the first time I watched the trailer beforehand.
Interesting. And I did not. I had no idea what I was going into.
Yeah, most of the time, like for Black Swan, I mean, I saw the BTS, but that was it.
Okay.
Leading into it, I didn't know anything. Zippo knew nothing what I was going into. That I saw the trailer. Trailer looked really good. Like I really wanted to see it.
Was the trailer a good representation of the film?
No, because I watched the trailer, and we'll talk about this later. And I was like, while watching it, I was like, "Oh, this looks like this other movie and this other movie."
Yeah.
And I got kind of carried away and watched those other movies' trailers because couldn't hold myself. And if you're wondering, it was Within.
Okay.
And The Visit.
Okay.
And I'll touch on those more later. But yeah, nothing like those, because I thought it was going to be kind of like The Visit or Within.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Can
you've
you
seen those
compare
movies,
Can
but
you, without saying another Darren Aronofsky film, can you compare this movie in any way to another movie that you have seen?
Parasite.
Ouch. You know? Not a solid, like, no, I'll give that to you. This did have some parasitic
vibes.
vibes.
Even though it's not like exactly Parasite.
Oh no, it's very, very different in theme. It's very, very different in plot and theme.
Mhm.
But no, there's absolutely some similarities here. Okay.
For kind of almost the reversed reason for The Visit. Because The Visit, it's not like
I don't know that I've seen The Visit. Who's in The Visit?
I don't know exactly who, but it's like the grandparents, or I don't want to give too much away, but the grandparents of this, like the single mother, and the two children go to their grandparents' house.
Oh no, I've seen much of that movie.
And then in the trailer, it's like, can you go into the oven to clean it for me, dear?
Yeah,
that movie. That's The Visit.
Yeah,
but like, I mean, I can say right now, because in this movie, well, when I was watching the trailer, I thought it was like the intruders coming into the house.
sure.
As we saw with the first family, I guess we could say.
Okay.
The Visit is almost the reverse of that, where the victims are going into the house, instead of the victims live in the house and it's the intruders.
This movie is probably the only movie I've ever seen where the surrealism of it at no point is explained.
It's just, out of whack.
It's no point explained nor justified. Like there's a lot of movies that are surreal. Oh gosh, what was I going to say? Not Ewan McGregor, Trainspotting. You know, Trainspotting is very surreal, but it's about heroin addicts, so that kind of plays.
Yeah.
and you know, Moulin Rouge, another Ewan McGregor film, also very surreal, but it's about the Bohemian Revolution, and they're all on absinthe, so it kind of plays. Another Darren Aronofsky, Requiem for a Dream, again with the heroin. There's surrealism is almost always contextualized and or explained. In anything David Lynch does, they wake up. And then, it was a dream. Or Brian De Palma did that with Femme Fatale, where it was an interesting movie, and then they wake up, which is just the stupidest, most punk ass, like cheap way to get out of it.
Yeah.
But this movie started off awkward, got weirder and weirder and weirder, and more uncomfortable and more surreal. And then at the end, it not only doesn't explain it, it sort of doubles down, and you're just like, okay, then. So it happened. It was totally real. It wasn't a dream. There was no fantasy to it. He's just a parasite to kind of like interesting.
And then
spoiler. Sorry, by the way.
And then to tie another movie into this, and I know what you think of animated films.
I don't think much of them.
This one is animated.
Okay.
But I didn't get like the whole thing until the end, which you'll see why. Monster House.
For the record, I don't know that I've ever I've sat in the room through the entirety of Monster House, but I was like on my phone. I don't know that I could say with a straight face that I have seen Monster House. I have been in the room adjacent to Monster House, but that's because I have children.
I see.
I don't know that I could take credit for having watched it.
And then that one's kind of self-explanatory with the ending.
Well, again, I haven't seen the end. I don't know how Monster House
ends.
Mean,
with the title of the name, you can kind of guess.
Right, where the house is the monster.
Yeah. And then another, just like complete throw
a wrench or two.
Sure. Have you seen In the Tall Grass?
No.
Okay, that's a Netflix film, and it very, very loosely ties to this.
Okay.
The only way I'm saying it ties to this is the fact that like the whole movie is basically a loop.
Okay. I've seen that done in a few other films. What's it? What In the Tall Grass is what you're called?
Yes, In the Tall Grass.
So another movie that you need to see. In fact, I might not want to talk too much about it because I should make you watch it for this show.
Okay.
The movie, have you seen it or heard of it, called Primer?
I have not seen it. May have heard of it though.
So we should watch it. My big thing that I tell everyone about Primer is under no circumstance watch the tree. When I used to work at a Hollywood motion picture company, I say like, okay, do you like this type of movie? Do you like this kind of movie? And if they said yes, I was like, great. I'd pick up Primer and I was like, do not read the back. Do not watch the trailer.
Okay.
Do not know anything about this. Just turn it on. And they'd be like, why? What's it about? I'm like, I can't tell you.
So does that mean you're going to do all this then?
That would ruin
next time?
No, because the who wrote and directed it, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Okay.
But Primer, it's an amazing example of what you just kind of described, of the beginning and the end.
The looping?
It kind of, sort of. It's a little bit of a looping movie.
Go
ahead.
Let's talk about the ins and outs.
Let's talk about the ins and outs.
Let's talk about who's in it.
So first, of course, is Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes, who played Mother, which let me get sidetracked again. None of the people in this movie had names.
Not a single name in the movie. Jennifer Lawrence was Mother. Javier Bardem was him.
We got Strangers.
Strangers. Domhnall Gleeson is older brother. Brian Gleeson is younger brother. All of them just have titles, not
bunch of pronouns.
Which, for the record, I think really worked given how this movie ended. That it was just it was just what it was.
I mean, yeah, because we already spoiled it some, so
well, don't give the total end away, but yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say it then. Anyways, so yep, Hunger Games, Katniss, American Hustle, X-Men, Raven, Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, like you said, Skyfall, The Sea Inside, The Road's Not Taken.
I'd like to point out just he won an Oscar for No Country for Old Men, and that's not what you have him up there for? Come on, man. He won okay.
I mean, to be fair, in my defense,
okay,
I don't know if you can really tell, but
those are just the top 3 things on American IMDb.
No, what I go for first is movies and things that I've seen.
You know Javier Bardem mostly from Skyfall? Interesting. I'm so glad you found me.
And then if I don't know, like if I only know like 1 or 2,
sure,
or not even any, then I'll just go for like the most known for, or like the recent.
So Ed Harris, I like the Truman Show, Apollo 13 and Westworld. Those are all 3 great examples. I will say, in a little bit of a tangent on myself, the Truman Show, I had an opportunity to read an earlier adaptation of the Andrew Niccol script because Andrew Niccol wrote it. And Andrew Niccol is one of my favorite filmmakers. And Andrew Niccol has a very definitive style. He always has. And that movie is within his style, but not quite. And when you read the original script, it's way more him. I will say to this day, not going totally off, that I would pay so much money to see the Andrew Niccol version, which was significantly darker. It was the same basic story, but it was much, much, much darker.
Interesting.
When you start the movie, you don't know. You experience it with Truman. You don't know. So as he figures it out, you figure it out.
Yeah, I've seen the Truman Show.
Right, no, but
I just recently watched. Oh, but you're talking about the others cut.
No, but in the Truman Show, you know from the very beginning that he's in a TV show, that he doesn't.
Yeah.
In the Andrew Niccol cut, you find out with him. Like,
I see.
it's very surreal. It's like he just starts seeing all these things and experiencing all these things, and it's a much twistier mind screw.
That would be cool to see.
It would be.
You think it's gonna?
No.
Okay.
No. Movie from 1997. No, they're not going back to that.
I see.
And then of course Michelle Pfeiffer, Maleficent, Batman Returns, and Janet Van Dyne from MCU. I'd also like to point out that you are missing her most notorious role from Grease 2.
I was gonna put that on there, but I can only put 3. We're not
Grease 2, Scarface. For Maleficent, see, Batman Returns, you're forgiven. That's that.
I mean, like I said, from movies and things I've seen,
and then
normally go first. So,
and then that you went with Janet Van Dyne. That makes good enough sense, I suppose. Okay, what's next?
So,
you went the wrong way, I think. No. Okay.
But one of the other things I think we should point out, is you did mention this.
Okay.
The camera work.
Again, Darren Aronofsky,
fantastic.
His camera work is lyrical, and I can't think of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
His camera work is not character based, which again, I love films that make the camera a character.
Yeah.
He does not do that. But his camera work is like watching a ballet. Like
sounds like last time.
Last time it made sense because it was Black Swan.
Yeah.
But this time his camera work is it's lyrical. It's beautiful. And in this one in particular, I also found that the sound editing was particularly interesting. The way, like when Jennifer Lawrence, when Mother was sitting and Michelle Pfeiffer, Stranger, was walking around talking about having a child and needing to make Javier Bardem more amorous. The sound of her walking through the house, and it just got echoey as she got further away and closer. It really was like watching this choreographed dance between the sound and the Foley and the camera work. It was just, it was, again, I'm easy to please but you have to do things that are daring and interesting. And this movie, as much as I hated how much I love it, it was super lyrical. It was super fun to watch in that regard.
Yeah. I was also going to point out there's a lot of movement.
Yes.
And I think I pointed out last Darren Aronofsky film where like camera just plop down and then move with the character, like move, like pan around the character as well.
Yep. No, again, he does such interesting things with his camera work. And I really, really like it. This movie as well, I kind of want to, once you know the end and you understand the twist and you understand what that glowing ember that you've been watching the whole time.
Oh, you want to rewatch it?
I want to rewatch it now that I know what the glowing ember is.
Yes.
Like, and this I won't spoil because that really, I think that reveal at the end was so exciting. I would really not want to ruin that for someone.
Yeah.
But once you know what the glowing ember is and what it represents and the blood spot, which they don't explain as clearly as the glowing ember, but I want to go back and watch it again. And and which is funny because like
unravel it.
Oh gosh, this movie. It was really, no, I will say as an artist, I mean, in a moment of vulnerability, you know, Javier Bardem plays him, an artist and a poet, and Jennifer Lawrence plays Mother, a woman who's just blown away and taken with him. And you know, throughout the movie, he is just so obsessed with his path and obsessed with it that he kind of inadvertently, and you find out not so inadvertent, but you know, he kind of inadvertently just drains her and takes. And I will say, you know, I've been a filmmaker, I'm a business owner. I have watching this movie was really rough because you just, as an artist, you watch that and you're like, I've done that. Like, again, no, I've never sacrificed my child to an angry mob.
Yeah.
I drew the line short of that.
Yeah.
But like you're watching this and you're just watching the emotions of Jennifer Lawrence being just completely drained. And I will say that I saw it was really hard to watch because I felt very not victimized, but villainized. I was like, well, damn, I've been the artist in people's lives before that didn't notice what they were going through because I was so obsessed with my own poetry or my own motion. And that, I'm not gonna lie, Mother was hard to watch because it's supposed to be. It's a horror movie, but like this is, you know, whether we're talking Psycho or we're talking Candyman or we're talking Freddy Krueger, we're talking Jason, very, very, very seldom in the horror movie do you identify with the villain
Yeah.
I mean, Norman Bates might be the single exception in Psycho, but no, this was hard to watch because of how much of the villain I was like, oops. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Again, I've never sacrificed my child to an angry mob, but
I mean, I wouldn't either.
But there was a lot of
Emotion.
And I will absolutely say, I don't know this for a fact. I'm not quoting anything. I've not heard anything. But in that, Darren Aronofsky is a filmmaker, and he has worked in an industry that chews people up and spits them out. There's no part of me that doesn't. I refuse to believe that there isn't parts of this that wasn't. I don't want to call it autobiographical. That wasn't self-reflective. That wasn't, because again, I lived in Hollywood for a long time, and I saw people get chewed up and spit out, and I saw couples where one person started to thrive and the other person just dwindled, partly out of kind of a jealousy, like competition thing. Coming from an artistic realm, this film was hard to watch just because
You've been there, done that.
I'm familiar with what was inspiring it, and that made it very, very difficult in a positive way. Like I'm impressed with the amount of emotion that they packed into that.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
another thing I want to point out is I wouldn't say I say this about like a ton of movies.
Sure.
This would be a fantastic movie to be an extra in.
In that limits it to basically 3 scenes. You're sick,
that is
man.
true, but
like there's only 3 places to be an extra in this movie, and all of them make you pretty sadistic.
I'm in my defense.
No, keep digging.
I was gonna say, who wouldn't want to just like tear down a house demolition style?
Lots of people, Ronan. People with a healthy understanding of boundaries. Those people wouldn't want to. Okay. No, I agree.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one.
All of the scenes in this, like, again, back when I was acting very, very, very briefly, I always found character acting more fun. I always found the crazy person, the psycho, the drama, the drunk, I always found crazy, not hyperboles, but personas more fun. And then just being the straight man or even the heartthrob. I didn't find those roles interesting.
I see.
And the only place to be an extra in this film either makes you an insurrectionist, like you're either a looter, an angry mob, a cult member. Like the only place to put you as an extra in this
is one of the shooting dead people.
You're a Kool-Aid drinker. You're a cult member in some capacity. It would have been a very fun day on set, having been on set, having been on set and seen everything from backflips to gunfights myself on set. This would have been fun to shoot. Yeah, terrifying.
I mean, there was one time where that one army recruit or whatever you want to call it was trying to save Mother.
Oh yeah, and then his head exploded.
Yeah.
No, there was. The CG use in this was good, not great, because you could tell when it was happening.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get a baby that you're allowed to rip up. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like what you said. The what's it? The 3 Ps, the price. We're talking about the olden films, like how hard, like the specific.
Specifics cost money. I don't remember the 3 Ps. But yeah, specifics cost money.
So,
the more specific you get, like if you say 2 people sitting in a room, that's easy. I can get any 2 people. If you say 2 old people sitting in a Denny's, still easy.
Yeah.
1 old red-haired man, 1 tiny Latin woman sitting in a Denny's on the moon. You're like, okay. Again, still not hard, but specifics cost money. And yeah,
that's why CG was used,
because finding a baby is
especially for a sacrifice.
Yeah, especially for a cultish sacrifice. We've ruined that scene for you. Sorry, that happens.
Sorry, get that picture in your head as well.
Okay. So what else do we have?
Let's talk about the outs.
So
budget 30 million and 44.5 million internationally.
That is surprisingly low.
I know.
Darren Aronofsky, I mean, no one got fired over this. I mean, that they made their money back. Do you know how fast that happened? Do you know what the interval was?
I do not know.
I mean, that is relatively low. 30 million generated 44 and a half. So I mean, it made 50% of its budget. It did fine.
Yeah,
but these days, breaking even is zero. Like,
yeah,
breaking even isn't getting 100%. Breaking even's is the baseline.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not entirely a flop, but it was not like Black Swan with the 330 million that it achieved. And another thing about Outs, did not do so well in the
horror films
winning department.
It got the Hall of Shame for Darren Aronofsky?
I do not know what that entails, but yes, it did.
Interesting.
From the Alliance of Women Film Journalists. And another interesting one.
Actress most in need of a new agent, Jennifer Lawrence.
That's what I was going to say was the interesting one. Because I never knew that was a category.
Well, just for the Alliance of Women Film Journalists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is too bad. I will say that I don't take back anything I said. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the themes were really well, and I thought it was well made. And
talking about Jennifer Lawrence's acting, spot on.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. I don't know that I don't dislike or like Jennifer Lawrence. I think she disappears in a good way into her roles. Like, she does adequate. She does really, really well. Very seldom have I seen a role where I was like, no one else could have played that. Like, no, I mean, she does great.
Yeah.
I think she did great in this. Best horror film, I agree. Academy
nominated. It didn't win.
Oh, it nominated for all this.
Yes.
It didn't win any of those.
Nope.
Oh, well then good. It didn't even win Actress Most in Need of a Who did win Actress Most in Need of a New Agent? You didn't check? Okay.
No, I did not. But I mean, I didn't even know it's a category. So
it got a 66
ratings
on IMDb,
yes.
68. This is insane. So if anyone watched my old show, A Nerdy News at Noon, we did a segment every Monday called Movies by the Numbers, where we talked about every movie that weekend.
Yep.
And Metacritic was 100% always the lowest. It'd be like, got an 89 on Rotten Tomatoes, a 92 on IMDb, and a 34 on Metacritic. And you're just like, dude, guys, like, have a sandwich, take a nap, like, don't be a jackass.
It did the best here.
75 on Metacritic. I actually
agree with her.
No, so I would have given it an 83, 82. I'd have given it a low B. Like, this was not a masterpiece, but I really enjoyed it. I'm not a horror fan in general. I will say that the awkwardness was palpable, and I mean that in a good way. Like, there was just, this movie made being uncomfortable an art form. You're like, I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I think that 66 and 68, 6.6 and 68 is punitively low. I think 75 is the low end of where I'd have put it. I'd have put it between 75 and 83. I'm not offended by a 75. I am offended by a 66. Y'all should be ashamed yourselves. I thought this was a good movie. This might be, again, I did not like Pi for reasons.
Yeah.
I will never watch Requiem for a Dream again, despite it being a masterpiece. I've seen The Wrestler several times. It is his least Darren Aronofsky type film. Black Swan I enjoyed, but I'd probably never watch it again. This is, with the exception of The Wrestler, this might be the only Darren Aronofsky film that I would be
willing to watch again.
Not willing, like inclined to. There's a lot of, like, if someone said, hey, let's watch Pi, I'd be like, okay, like, whatever. Or let's watch Black Swan. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is beyond willing. Like, I'd be interested to watch this again.
I see.
Especially because of the recursiveness.
Yeah.
I want to kind of experience it.
Now, me being me, I am kind of very loosely a horror person.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I liked watching The Visit, Within.
Sure.
Those types of movies. This one, unlike you, I think I would only watch it again because of the recursiveness.
So you didn't enjoy it generally?
I found it... I feel like I'm going to eat my words, but especially the first part, I found it very confusing.
Well, it was supposed to be. It was a surreal movie. You don't look at a Salvador Dali painting and go, why is that clock melting? I don't understand. Like, yeah, no, it was very uncomfortable to watch. Especially the first act was the first act was remarkably uncomfortable to watch.
And then especially watching the trailer first, I thought the trailer was gonna. I thought the movie was gonna be something totally different than it actually was.
Okay.
So it set my head in kind of the wrong mood because I was thinking it was gonna turn one way and it turned the other.
And it didn't. Yeah. Okay.
Which,
I will say that anyone who attempts to guess where this movie is going is gonna have to check their shit.
That is very true. That is very
anyone
true.
who at the beginning is like, "Oh, I know what's gonna happen." No, you don't.
That is very true.
I can't. Like I said, Parasite's the best I can do, but you don't even recognize that until the last 20 minutes, and when you figure out sort of what's going on. Yeah, I would say this film stands in a category of its own.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting. Okay. What else do we got? I think that's it, right?
I think that's about it. We covered everything.
So what are we watching next week? You don't remember, do you?
I was gonna say I totally forgot the name. All I remember is skateboards.
Yes.
And the only thing I can remember was with skateboards is like Tony Hawk in those types of video games.
Yes. Tony Hawk is in the movie we're going to watch next week.
Is he really?
Yes, he is. He plays the character of Buddy. So next week we will be watching the 1988 seminal classic Gleaming the Cube. Now, for those of you who follow my other podcast, Release the Creative, on both YouTube and Spotify and Apple,
wherever you find podcasts.
We did a review. Our whole week this week was called Gleaming the Cube, and we talked about that phrase and that movie, and we tied it back to a lot of things. And so in that podcast, which again you can find on YouTube on Release the Creative, we talked about how it's out of print. It's not streaming anywhere. No one owns it. It's impossible to find. So I took that as a challenge, and I found a bootleg on I found a bootleg on eBay, which I purchased, and it came in. I then ripped it to my computer. The quality is awful. It is such a bad rip, but I own it. and we are going to watch it next week. And
bragging rights.
And it's, for the record, I watched it when I was a kid. I was born in 82. It came out in 88. I was a big Christian Slater fan in the 90s, so I went back and watched some of his older movies. I really enjoy it, but the reason we're going to watch it is that Gleaming the Cube in certain contexts is actually a phrase that means to do so bad it's actually good.
I see.
And
sounds like me.
This film, pretty much.
Agreed.
This film is awesome. I love it. It's a skateboard film noir crime drama. And come on, man.
Interesting.
Like Christian Slater takes on the Asian triad on a skateboard, and that's cool. Tony Hawk plays his best friend. Like, there's just nowhere to go wrong with this movie. But because it is Gleaming the Cube and it's impossible to find, I'm wondering if we shouldn't figure out a way that we can like stream us watching it. Like, we can't on Amazon. We know that. Like, I wonder if we should have like a watch party, like on Zoom, like figure out a way that people that want to watch Gleaming the Cube, we can make that happen. Cause I have it. It's on my computer.
On like a different website or so.
Yeah. Just find a way to
Skype.
Like I'm saying, like get in a Zoom call, share screen, watch movie. Because I want to talk about this movie, at least definitely with you. Yeah. This movie is incredible. I'll probably pull out some clips. We can show them. So next week's going to be a little bit of a different show.
Okay. So it'll be kind of going back to our roots.
Yes, a little bit.
With the Terrible Movie Tuesday.
Terrible Movie Tuesday. But Terrible Movie Tuesdays, you picked actually bad movies. This is not a bad movie. Gleaming the Cube is a masterpiece of Christian Slater.
It's just a hidden gem.
It's a hidden gem.
And we're going to uncover the secrets of why it's out of print.
For the record, Dogma is also out of print, and that's another hidden gem, so don't get me started. Okay, send us off, man.
First, I'm going to go off on a limb and say it's not about the Avengers. I'm going to send myself off. Don't you worry. Do you get it?
No.
Have you not seen the first Avengers?
Yes, I've seen the first Avengers.
The Cube?
Oh, gosh. Can't take you anywhere.
Anyways, I've been Ronan like always.
And I have been Kirk.
And this has been Reels in the Round, the live edition.
The live edition. You'll be able to check this out on repeat, but let us know what movies you want us to watch, and we will do that.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.